welcome to WRPB and WRPB Studios. So, the young lady next to me has been with us twice, and now this is the third time, and this time completes a series of children's books that she's written. And I've learned in the second interview a lot about how children's books are written and why Maddie and Jasmine, which is her series, has 3 books. So I'm going to now speak with her, and she's going to teach me a little bit more because last time she was here, we looked at the inside of the book, and I found a very interesting thing that we're going to talk about. So with me is Sherry. Hey, how are you?
Hi, again.
Okay. Okay. So you have Maddie and Jasmine, and there's this. Just real quick, we're going to go over this. There's this long story that you wrote,
Yes.
and then you were taught that it's too long, I
Too
guess.
long. It's a narrative. It was a good narrative, but it's not a children's book because it was too long. There's a children have, it's all children. And adults too. Sometimes they have attention spans. It won't take one big long story unless it's a chapter book. If it's a chapter book, then that's an older child, and it'll work.
Okay, so taking off of what you just said, I remember when I was a kid, and in the Jewish holiday, we couldn't turn on lights, we couldn't do a lot of stuff on one of our holidays. And my mom went out with me and my brother and bought us comic books. So he would buy Superman and Batman, and I would buy Archie, but I preferred Jughead jokes because there was short stories, and in the comic book, there was like a page and a half or 2 pages of each story. I could do that. Reading the whole thing, yeah, I can't do that. So I actually can get and understand that. And the other thing that we spoke about on your last one was the illustrator. Okay, and all the books have amazing illustrations, which is a whole page. So it's actually a whole picture in each page. So let's just kind of refresh about Maddie and Jasmine.
Okay.
So who are they?
Maddie and Jasmine are a couple of, well, both of them were bullied at some point in time. Maddie was a little girl that was bullied in school. No one ever chose her for anything. Their soccer teams, they made fun of her. I said her hair looked like she looked like a cat that was, lived in the alley. So she was always sad, went home, and she said to her mom, "I want a cat." And her mom said, "Why?" She said, "Because I want a friend." So they went to the shelter, and Maddie saw 3 different cats. She didn't, she shook her head. And this 4th cat came up, which was Jasmine, came up and tapped her. That's the first time this child was ever chosen by anybody.
Right.
Anything. So that's the cat she wants. Because at the end of book 1, Andrea, who works at the shelter, said, "Why, Maddie, of all the cats here, did you pick Jasmine?" And her final words were, "I didn't pick Jasmine, she picked me." So book 2 comes up and they are going shopping. Maddie and Jasmine go shopping. You need things for the pet that you've just picked up. So she has a list. She has a list from the shelter of what things to get for the cat. And she says to her mom, "We're taking Jasmine in the pet store because you can't leave her in the car. It's too hot out here," which is a lesson.
Important lesson.
A very important lesson. You don't leave your children there either, but it's don't leave your pet in the car. So she takes her in. Maddie picks out several things for Jasmine. Jasmine's, bored, yawns, does all the stuff cat does. Looks bored all anyway. So Maddie says, "Oh, you don't like it shopping because you don't get to pick out what you want, and that's what you like, to pick out what you want." So cat changes right around, picks out all this different stuff, goes up to all the beds and all this kind of stuff. So in book 3, are we on book 3?
Yeah.
Okay, book 3. I don't know which book is my favorite because they're all standalones. So you can have any book and you will get the message. But if you have all 3 books, then you understand the whole story. So in book 3, Maddie has to go to school because they have show and tell day. And she doesn't like that because she's still bullied, she's still picked on by the kids. And she has taught Jasmine some tricks. So she looks at Jasmine and says, I'll take you. So they go to school the next day, they walk into class, and of course, as she's walking back to her seat, all the kids turn and look like that. And she's the last one to do a show and tell. So she gets up in front of the class, it's her turn, and she starts this fetch stuff. She throws something in the cat, a little mousey, and Jasmine brings it to her. She does a couple other things. Well, now the kids are all excited. So they're yelling out, how do you train them like that? I know a dog acts like that way, but not a cat. They go on, and the teacher says, well, wait till recess, and then you can ask her all the questions you want. So they go out, and you can even see Maddie's appearance looking a little less disheveled in the last book. Her hair's still kind of wild, but, some of us have wild hair.
However, the illustrator is, makes her look really pretty.
Makes her look what?
Really pretty.
Oh, she is. She's very pretty, but talking about how she's picked on. Look at this illustration.
Okay, so that looks like my daughter's hair when she was that age.
There you
Just
go.
saying.
But see, look at the
Right.
look on her face. I mean, you can tell. You just want to hug that child. But so in the third book, they go out on the playground. The kids are still, rifling questions to her, and all of a sudden, Maddie looks up and she sees Brian walking across the playground.
Brian is.
Brian is the kid that tormented her in book 1.
Okay.
So she freezes, and then she relaxes a minute, and Brian says to her, "Cool cat, Maddie," and she says, "Thank you," and he said, "You're cool too. From now on, I pick you for my soccer team." So it teaches the kids that, there's kindness needs to be shown. And so he did, he came around, and it's just something that the children, when they see, like, they might have a bad time, but just stick with it and think about it a little bit, and it might work out.
I mean, I remember when my daughter was in school, and, we think that there's drama. Like I say, I sit on 2 boards, and I say, there's so much drama. Then I think of my daughter when she was in school, and her friends, she had 2 friends, let's just say, and of course the 2 friends didn't like one another, and she's caught in the middle, and just kids are just not nice.
Bullying is a problem.
Right. So the fact that you bring that into this story, this trilogy, is very cool, and the lessons that one learns is important. But how do we teach children these lessons? And I guess children's books are the vehicle that we should use, instead of games, TV games that show violence, and that's the wrong way to teach their kids. And reading is just something that pulls you into the story. And for children, now you have the words and the pictures, and you can put it together in your mind. So basically, we go from book 1 to book 3, and you have this complete circle for Maddie, who comes out, and I call it from trauma to success. Okay?
Yes.
So she had a trauma with not being picked on, not being picked for teams, to success at the end, where everybody wants her on her team, everybody wants to talk to her, and that makes her feel good. And it's funny because it doesn't take a video game. Sometimes it takes a cat or a dog or a bunny.
I like to call it the power of the pet.
The power of, right. Because I can't say anything, because I told you so. We had one cat. She was scratchy bitey. Her name was Catastrophe, cut down to Fee, and it wasn't until we brought another cat in that she calmed down. But she brings peace to the house, and we're not kids in a kid's book. We're adults, and she brings peace to the house, and that's, like I said, so important. Joe, who is the CEO of the Stuart Martin Chamber, he comes here once a month and does interviews. And he brings his dog. Okay? And that dog, who's quiet, doesn't bark or anything, changes the whole air
Atmosphere, yeah.
in this place. Everybody who comes in, because he does 4 to 7 interviews in a row. Everybody who comes in, who's nervous and stuff, now sees Max and smiles and just feels good. And that's what most pets do. We were talking about pit bulls today earlier, not with you. And pit bulls, the parents are bad when it comes to the animals. It's not the animals. Okay.
We're blaming the wrong end of the
Right.
leash.
That's true. And this shows a child who got picked, and I can't say anything because that's what happens. Same thing happened with one of my cats. And it takes you through this whole thing about how she connects. And forget the cat, forget Maddie, forget Jasmine. That's life in general.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we connect. Okay. I think one of the things that is taught in book 2 is the responsibility of a pet. Meaning she had to go out and buy a leash, a bed, kitty litter, food. People think, and you had said it, people think you get a pet and that's it. It's not like that. Okay? You have to do things like clean a kitty litter pan,
Yeah,
okay, feed them and take care of them. Dogs you have to take for walks. So I think the fact that you wrote this series, and I try to think what was going through your mind when you wrote it, because you wrote it as one piece.
I did, and it was mainly my whole. I think this thing is just ballooned because my original concept was to write a children's book, but write it about animal shelters. I mean, animal shelters. What I wanted to teach in these books also was she got the animal from an animal shelter. There's, animal shelters need support from people, and you get good animals from animal shelters. And
Great
that's
animals.
why I initially wrote. Well, by the way, while we're here, I was going to give you this. I give this out at all my book signings. It's the other way around. It's Adoption, a Great Option.
Okay. I don't know if you guys can see it. Actually, can you give me camera 2? It'll probably be better if it's camera 2. You can hold it up. So I think it'll look bigger if you hold it up. Okay, so it says adoption is a great option.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's got paws on it.
I so agree. And it's not just about adoption, it's about rescue.
It's about rescue, yes.
Okay?
Yes.
The one cat that was a nightmare, Fee, she wasn't an adoption from a thing. I got her at 4 weeks. Her mom and siblings all were killed. And that's how we got her. She was feral. She was found in an abandoned house. So there's no need to go out and buy an animal, in my opinion. There are some amazing animals that you can get. Obviously, Maddie found her soulmate, for lack of a better word. And after talking to you, you have your soulmate. Okay? And they keep us company. And there's just something about when they come over to you, when Fee, who you couldn't even get near at one point in time, when she gets up on the back of a chair and I stick my face out, she sticks her face out to kiss me. Okay? She's unhappy if I don't kiss her. Of course, when I open the refrigerator, she's gone. She's going anywhere where the refrigerator is. Okay? And he doesn't eat, and the boy doesn't eat any people food. He only likes cat food. But there's just something about an animal, and you need to teach your children about how important it is, not just to get an animal, but to support that animal, meaning buying what you need. This series of books, Maddie and Jasmine, is a series that you should definitely check out. It's easy read for you to read to your child, or for your child to read when they're old enough. But in the book, if I found, you didn't tell me, I found this on my own.
Well, all kinds
It's
of
something for me. If you look at this little picture here, if you put your cell phone over it, I guess it will read the book to you.
It's augmented reality, yes.
So it's like, it makes it easy for people like me to have ADHD.
Well, also, I wanted to mention that all three books, and when I've been going to the Lyric Theater to do my book signings and reading. I read, and then we go out to the lobby and I do the book signing. And I always tell the audience after, well, sometimes before, sometimes after, but after the reading, that these books are excellent books. Now, I know I wrote them. However, I also had a professional writing coach that helped me along the way. And when I say that, I say, like, for point of view change, I'll have my writing coach say, you change the POV, which sometimes it's easy to do because you're thinking, oh, that's right, I did. So now the point of view is not coming from this animal, it's coming from over here. So I had a professional writing coach. I won, for these all three books, the international bestseller status. And also the one I'm very proud of is the Mom's Choice Awards, the Gold Ward Seal, because that is a panel of judges, and you turn whatever it is, and they have toys and other things, but it's Mom's Choice. You have a panel of judges and scientists that scrutinize everything that goes through there.
Wow.
And about shelters, if I could just add, when I'm on stage, I thank different people when I finish the reading. And one thing I say, and this goes to everybody, but one thing I say to the audience is, I have asked some people from the various shelters that I sponsor to wear either a badge or a T-shirt so that you know what shelter they're from. And when you go out to the lobby, if you see one of those people, go up and say thank you. Thank you for what you do every day. Because what they do every day, we don't see. We see the animals that are cleaned up and they're in their cages, and yeah, they're in cages, and that's bad enough. But we didn't see them come in when they were skin and bone because they weren't fed for a while because they were beat up. They go through it every day. So just thank a person that works at one of the animal shelters because their job is tough.
I just want to, before we go, these books, though you wrote them, it really takes an army to get that book to where it is.
Yes, it does.
Okay?
It takes
So-
a village, as they say.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, you got the award, but it really was all you guys that put it together that got that award.
It is.
And that's so important to know that you don't have to do it on your own. If you have an idea, bring it to somebody. You would have never gotten to where you're at, the path that you were on. Okay? You would have
right.
never had 3 books that won all these awards. So it's okay to ask for help and to seek a professional. And I'm going to say this, if you have kids and you're thinking about getting a pet, you definitely should go to a shelter, and you definitely should read some of these books to them. Let them know that it's not just fun. It's serious, and it's the next step above giving your daughter a doll, because that they can put in the corner and forget. A pet is never forgotten. But Maddie has it right. It is a friend.
And many of the animals are in shelters through no fault of their own.
Oh, of course not.
I'm writing another series. I have a second series because this wasn't a series, it was a trilogy, definite trilogy. But the next series, I have a second writing coach or another writing coach now. And my writing coach said to me, this new one, well, you seem to be doing well. Why do you want a coach? I said, well, Tiger Woods and Serena Williams got to where they are because they kept improving themselves with their coaches. And I said that when you do that, it's supporting like these animals. The second series I wrote because it's different. My coach said, why don't you write books where the animals talk? And I got very excited about that. She said, you can have all kinds of leeway with that. So I said, okay. So what I'm doing with the second series, and the first book is at the publisher now, so it's not ready to come out yet. But what I did there is just about what we were talking about. Animals are there through no fault of their own. One of the animals that I wrote about is the owner died. And the owner died, family didn't want it, and so this dog went from being a happy dog in a happy house with a happy owner. The owner's gone, the house is gone, they're in a shelter, and it's like, what did I do? And so that's what I'm trying to portray with the animals saying these things in these new books.
But I'd be willing to bet that as soon as they come out, she'll be back here to
I
talk
was going to say I'll be back again.
So thanks so much for coming on.
Well, thank you. Thank
Everybody, have a great day. Use the shelter. We'll be right back.